My name is Sheba Williams. I am a Richmond, Virginia native. I am the founder and executive director of an organization called No Left Turns. I also am a barber stylist, Styles by Sheba, and I am a professional consultant at Sheba Williams Consulting. About 3 years ago, myself and four other women and a young man and a couple of guys who were incarcerated were looking at the laws in Virginia, looking at the inconsistencies in sentencing, thinking about how many people waste away in prison for the extreme sentencing that Virginia has doled out for the years since they abolished parole. And just trying to figure out a way to address people who really work hard to change themselves while incarcerated. As survivors, we thought about the people who are impacted, all of the people who are impacted, not just the people who are incarcerated. And as someone who has survived more than 20 losses in the past few years, I really had to think about where people are on their healing journey and where people are with forgiveness, and some people who may never be in forgiveness, but how we can make better resources of the $1.8 billion that we spend in Department of Corrections each year. We spend about $11,330 to educate a young person in Richmond Public Schools, according to TCI's data, Commonwealth Institute. But we spend about $33,000 to house and feed and provide medical treatment and education and different things for a person inside of DOC. I think we can make better use of our funding. When we're thinking about this bill, it wasn't about not having accountability. We think that people are accountable, but we also think that people age out of crime. There's data around the fact that Virginia was using a lot of years, post abolishing parole, and it wasn't consistent. A lot of people think, we just want to free everybody. The thing is, when I lost my oldest nephew in 2018, the person who killed him and shot another young man in the back was only sentenced to 5 years. He did less than 3 years, and I advocated for his early release because nobody was sentenced to die when COVID happened. When my parents were arrested when I was 10 years old, they didn't get treatment for their substance use disorder. They got handcuffs. My dad was sentenced to 38 years for a robbery. He did about 19 and a half years. So you're talking about a situation where no one was hurt, no weapon was involved. And my dad got almost 5 times more than the person who killed my nephew. So, I had to be in a place where I really believe in redemption. I really believe in forgiveness and second chances, and it's not just a political tactic that I use, because you hear a lot of legislators say, oh yeah, I believe in second chances, and it's conditional. They believe in second chances for who they believe in second chances for. Over the course of these past few years, as I continued to lose loved ones and go to funerals and sit through trials, and even making it more personal. When Tate was killed, I was the one who prepared him for his final homegoing. As a barber, I cut his hair and I sat in the room with him while he was on a slab, not in a coffin. I've seen it up close and personal. We were forced to watch his murder on poll cam footage from Spotsylvania Street, where he was killed, in court. So it's not that I don't experience things. It is, I really believe that we can make better use of our money than just locking people away and not trying to get to the root causes of the crime, not trying to make sure that we're providing the resource necessary so that people don't turn to these crimes. And even taking it a step further, victim support services came in and supported this because They believe that, one, there are a lot of survivors who are incarcerated for protecting themselves against their abusers. There are a lot of people who suffer from behavioral health disorders or substance use disorders who get caught up in these systems, and people do change. People do grow and become better people. So, we drafted this bill 3 years ago to address that, because there are no other options for people who do change and grow other than executive clemency. We don't have parole. Virginia abolished parole in 1995. So when people have done all the programming they can do, and they have made amends, and they have changed, there are no options. So across the nation, there are second look laws that have passed, and we've seen people do amazing things with their opportunity. They've come home and started businesses and become advocates and been violence interrupters in the communities, and trying to pour back into the communities where they have committed harm before. I have friends who do the work, and you always hear people say, "Oh no, not you. You're an anomaly." That's not true. There are plenty of people who change and grow. I'm not the same person I was last week. I'm not the same person I was yesterday. So, that was the premise behind the bill. And, as somebody who is a survivor, as somebody who has been in the midst of a death penalty eligible case, in the middle of going through this process, I still believe it's bigger than me and my losses, because I know the system. I know the system intimately. And I saw how it was politicized, and survivors and victims who are in opposition are experiencing the exact same emotions that we feel on the side that supports this bill. But we were disregarded. We were disregarded because we have experienced both. I am what you call a dual survivor. I've been impacted by the systems, and I have also experiences the losses. And I think that is something that we were automatically dismissed if we spoke in support of this bill and had losses. I think that was the most heartbreaking thing, because I was really upset that in this city where I'm born and raised, our Attorney General invited victims who were in opposition, and I've never heard my condolences, not even as we stood there to testify last year, because this year, Chair Watts did acknowledge. But last year, if you were somebody who spoke in support of this bill and you shared your losses, we were dismissed. And so thank you for your time. And the city named the street after my 3-month-old cousin and her mom, who were killed over in Bell Atlantic Apartments. But I've never been invited to the Attorney General's office to share about my losses. And I think that that's something that needs to be rectified. But there's strength in having my own faith and not allowing it to be politicized. So we'll fight for this bill, and we'll keep fighting for this bill.